Certainly, for sure. Let's try and get into the market picture in just a bit then as well. Then it has unfortunately just backed out on us, but it certainly has gotten quite interesting with regards to the market movement. Yesterday, we saw the Dow Jones Industrial go down a bit as well, with the Nasdaq also dipping into negative territory. And that was the first time in 3 sessions that the Nasdaq had actually fallen off quite significantly as well then. So that's a major move. Of course, earlier this week, we heard from the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, saying that indeed he expects to support the U.S. economy for quite some time, perhaps even 2 years at the very least. And that is certainly going to hurt sentiment. So it does seem that the market perhaps moved on a little bit too quickly and really rose too fast in order to get to where it was. So this morning then, Asian markets unfortunately headed into negative territory to kick off things across the board, but it seems that the negativity didn't filter through into the rest of Europe and here locally either. A lot of the markets out in Europe are enjoying some green movement and some positive trajectories with regards to their market trading as well. On the local bourse, 0.2% higher than for the JSE All Share as well. Unfortunately, though, some weakness for the rand. It was good while it lasted, but it's back above 17 rand against the US dollar, unfortunately, and now sits well into the 19s as well when it comes to the euro, and 21 rand 25 odd against the British pound. So certainly some weakness there. A more than 3% fall as well for the oil price. So that is a big switch when one considers where the oil price has been, though. Let's turn our attention, though, to unpacking this market movement just a little bit more. I'm joined then by Warwick Lucas, who's from Galileo Capital, and he joins us this afternoon to get into grips with this market movement. Warwick, thank you so much for the time, sir. 1 week, we get things going absolutely high. We feel like we're back in bull territory, but it seems that we perhaps jumped the gun a little bit this week, showing that.
Very much so, Arabile. I think that markets had got over-enthusiastic to a substantial degree there. And I think a bit of reality getting delivered by the Fed governor there. I think we've seen this phenomenon before in 1998 when economies were generally in quite a poor space. And many people in the wake of poor economic growth and business activity, took their savings, be they pension or whatever else, and went and speculated on the stock market, quite frankly, on fundamentals that were really very poor. And I think we've seen a similar situation arise in this market as well. And I think some welcome coming back to earth there. Hopefully, of course, it doesn't turn into a proper rout, but I think a good dose of reality is quite healthy.
Yeah, so it certainly does mean that we move, perhaps, hopefully, with some sort of caution then maybe moving forward. Does that mean then that demand for things like oil doesn't necessarily come on board as quickly as the rest of the world had projected? I mean, the Fed, as we noted, had made that growth projection as well, the first since December last year, that there's going to be a contraction of 6.5% in that US economy, with unemployment at around 9.3%.
Yeah, I mean, that picture is quite tough, but of course, oil is a messy animal at the best of times, and of course the supply situation had gotten quite tricky there with the total level of cuts in production. I think getting blunted somewhat. So clearly there's some politicking to get sorted out on the oil producers front as well. So I think that picture remains unresolved, but it looks to me like in the short term that $40 is a pretty tough looking level.
Yeah, so hopefully, though, levels like these aren't necessarily too addictive. And of course, the agreement between the OPEC and its allies, that is, will certainly be quite significant at this time as well. Let's quickly turn our attention to the local front then, if you will, Warwick. Harmony getting the approval, 3.3 odd billion rand to try and shore up some of their purchase of Anglo Gold Ashanti's assets. Now just waiting for government. The deal's finally set by the looks of it. Is this still a good move in the current market?
I think a kind of change of management here is appropriate. I mean, basically Anglo Gold is typically interested in very large international type of deposits, and Harmony has an excellent and well-established history as a manager of much more mature gold assets. So I think it's probably a win-win both for both parties and for stakeholders in those Anglo Gold, now Harmony, of course, mines. So yeah, I mean, I'm generally constructive on this transaction.
Yeah, will certainly get interesting because Harmony is taking on the Mponeng mine, which is certainly one of the deepest around, at around 4 kilometers below the surface. You have a tailings operation that they're taking on, and you're getting 2 mothballed mines. Does that mean that they bring the 2 mines back to life somewhat?
On first inspection, I would think so, but I think it also obviously helps scale up Harmony in the local context in any case. So I think from that point of view, it's positive for them as well.
Yeah. Which areas are you looking towards for value, if I can call it that, Warwick? What's perhaps your most exciting place right now, considering how negative everything is?
Well, I think at the moment we generally have seen a very big bounce. I think it's probably as much as one might have hoped for, and I think we have to look at both the recovery of economies as well as the medical recovery from COVID is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So we're happy to be relatively conservative at the moment. So no really aggressive positions from our side at the moment, Rabile.
All right, Warwick, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it then. That's Warwick Lucas there joining us from Galileo Capital, helping us unpack that market.